Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into an event that completely reshaped the world as we know it, the Second World War.
It's a massive question, isn't it? But to get to the bottom of it, we're going to follow the timeline of a conflict that literally stretched across the entire globe, completely redrew the map, and taught humanity some incredibly tough, unforgettable lessons.
So, where do you even begin a story this big? Well, it all starts in a world that was already teetering on the edge, where the huge ambitions of just a few leaders were about to set off a truly devastating war. Over in Europe, the real spark came from leaders like Adolf Hitler in Germany and Benito Mussolini in Italy. Both of them were driven by this idea of expansion. They believed it was their right to just take more land, build bigger empires. And that kind of thinking, well, it put the whole world on a direct path to a major conflict. The official start date was September 1st, 1939. That's when Germany invaded Poland, and they did it using a terrifying new tactic they called blitzkrieg. This wasn't just about moving fast, it was this coordinated attack from the air and on the ground all at once, designed to cause total psychological shock and get a super quick, brutal victory. After Poland fell, the war just exploded westward at a shocking speed. By 1940, a huge chunk of Europe was falling under Axis control. It was a really dark time, not just because of the fighting, but because it marked the beginning of some horrific persecutions. The fall of France in 1940 was a huge blow for the Allies. All of a sudden, Great Britain was facing this seemingly unstoppable German war machine all by itself. You had pilots desperately fighting for their lives in the skies during what became known as the Battle of Britain. And right in the middle of that darkness, these famous words from Prime Minister Winston Churchill became so much more than just a speech. They were a rallying cry for hope and defiance that echoed all around the world, a real symbol of the will to keep fighting no matter how bad things looked.
But you know, this fight wasn't just stuck in Western Europe. The whole thing was about to erupt on brand new, massive fronts, pulling in the last of the world's major powers and turning this into a true world war.
The year 1941 really changed everything. First, in June, Germany launches this enormous surprise invasion of the Soviet Union. This opened up a vast and incredibly brutal Eastern Front. We're talking the largest land war in all of history. Then, in December, Japan attacks the United States at Pearl Harbor, and boom, the war spreads to the Pacific.
I mean, the attack on Pearl Harbor was just devastating. Over 2,400 Americans lost their lives. And that single event was what brought the full industrial power of the United States straight into the war, making it truly global in every sense of the word. So now you have America in the fight. The full might of the main Allied powers, that's the US, Britain, and the Soviet Union, starts to really push back. And slowly, but surely, you can feel the momentum of the war, which had seemed so one-sided for so long, finally start to shift.
And this shift wasn't just one thing. It was a series of critical turning points all over the world. You had Allied victories in North Africa, securing vital supply routes. Out in the Pacific, the naval victory at the Battle of Midway was a game-changer that crippled the Japanese fleet. And on the Eastern Front, the incredible resilience shown during the Siege of Leningrad proved to everyone that the Axis powers were not invincible.
The final push to take back Europe kicked off on June 6, 1944, D-Day. Allied soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy in a massive, incredibly dangerous operation. But its success opened up the path to liberate the entire continent, one hard-fought battle at a time. After years of some of the most brutal fighting imaginable, the end was finally in sight. But that victory came at a tremendous price. As Allied forces moved deeper into Europe, they uncovered the full, horrifying scale of the Holocaust, the systematic murder of 6 million Jews and millions of others in Nazi concentration camps.
By 1945, the war in Europe finally drew to a close. Italy and Germany were defeated, and their regimes, led by Mussolini and Hitler, completely collapsed, bringing an end to their devastating rule.
Over in the Pacific, though, the war ended in a shocking and terrifying new way. The United States used a brand new weapon, the atomic bomb, on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It was an act of destruction the world had never seen before, and it forced Japan to surrender, finally ending the global conflict. The war left the world with deep scars. Its legacy is so complex. On one hand, it's a story of unbelievable courage and human resilience, but it's also a stark, painful reminder of the deaths of human cruelty and the catastrophic cost of a global war.
So when we look back on all of this, it really forces us to ask a crucial question, thinking about the alliances, the ideologies, and the immense human toll. What is the single biggest lesson we absolutely have to carry forward from this history to make sure a war this devastating never, ever happens again?